So, in my army, I went for Ungor Herd, Ungor Herd, Ungor Herd, Ungor Herd. Basically, mass Vanguard deployment. As you can see, it's not very Vanguarded, but yeah, still. And I had the Blackhorn Avengers. These guys, or this front line, will beat pretty much anything except for Storm Vermin. So I was feeling pretty confident about that. But just in case my opponent went double Hell Pit, I had Ungor Raiders, Ungor Raiders, Ungor Raiders. These guys can do some serious damage in case my opponent went double Hell Pit, because if you didn't know, the usual strategy for Skaven against Beastmen was to go double Hell Pit because Beastmen struggle with large units. But these guys can do some serious damage to Hell Pit since they have low armor, so I brought them just in case if that occurs. In the back here, I had the shadowgay. Of course, he has regen, so just in case they brought Skrulk, I could prepare for that with him. And of course, he's got double chaos spawns, so or double chaos spawns. But yep, he's really, really good. And of course can basically use the Chaos Spawn to clear up chaff or get in the back line. I also have a Brave Shaman of Beasts. I had Flock of Doom and the Manticore summon to go snipe out Lords. So yeah, pretty good over here. Just in case he did go double Help It though, I did want to bring some dedicated anti-large. I brought the Destroyers of Drakwold, the Ungor Spearmen. These guys also have poison, so just in case he went like a heavy Flayers sort of army or Doom Wheels, I have these guys to sort of back up and sort of take them out. But just in case he went really double, really high in the Flayers, I had these guys, which of course have some mass. The Butchers of Kalangard, really good unit. These guys are fucking dope and sick. I mean, they're absolutely scary as fucking look. But, yep, these guys will put their fucking big udders in your vaginas or whatever, your backside, and fucking go to town on you. So, these guys, really good. And, of course, they have Fear and Terror, and they have regen. So, I didn't even know they had regen. But, yep, they're really good units. On the flanks, I had Harpies and Chaos Warhounds to chase off anything that does come. And then, the same on the other side. And, lastly, I had the Sons of Goros, Centicles with great weapons that I have armoured, so in case he did go double Help It on me again, I would have these to back him up. My opponent, he went Clan Rat, Slaves, Clan Rat, Slaves, Clan Rat, Slaves. Pretty decent front line. I believe I will win the front line with this here, but that's why Skaven, of course, have like flayers and such. He has a Hell Pit, so pretty scary stuff. I mean, Hell Pits can do a lot of damage to a lot of units. They're pretty hard to get rid of, but that's why I have the Ungor Raiders. It Claw on his Doom Wheel, pretty nasty stuff, but I have got some mass, so I can slow him down. And then basically he's got the absolute cancer of his build, which are the Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, which are just absolutely cancer. They'll snipe anything on the field. Rattling Gunners, which of course can deal with mass Ungor herds or stuff like that, but that's what I had the Harpies for. He also has some more Warplock Jeziles, and then in the back here, Spearmen. And lastly, Ikit Claw's Zap Cannon. Now this is really good, has a lot of damage, but also it has a debuff where if it shoots a unit, it will basically make its abilities go on cooldown for 15 seconds, which keeps stacking. And as you can see, it starts shooting at my fucking Brave Shaman. But anyway, let's get right into this. So I can see I'm like, I get the fuck out of this. So basically he starts like absolutely molesting this, and I think, fuck this, I'm going out. And if this ever happens, if they try to snipe your Lord, just bring them back. Really bring them back, because these units won't rout so fast, even if the Lord is not there. So if he starts shooting like a high value target, just bring them straight back and let all your units build up the chaff. So I start doing the main engagement here. Ungor Herds charging into Slaves and Clan Rats. Unfortunately, though, he did not, I believe, yeah, so in the front here, he didn't actually get his charge bonus, which, of course, these guys don't really have much charge bonus, but still, it's always worth doing that because it does make a little bit more damage. The Harpies over here, I sent them straight in, but they just get absolutely molested by the Teeth Breakers. Those guys absolutely rep them. And over here, I sent in these guys to get some early damage. The Centicles with great weapons. These guys will absolutely just chew through these guys ridiculously, because I saw that I was kind of uneven on this front line. I wanted to make sure that I cleared out the entire front line so I didn't have anything flanking around me and trying to get to my archers. So I made sure to clear up on that. Over here, I have the Harpies coming in from the other side, but this was another thing I did. I wanted to make sure that I denied the Hell Pit straight away, because I didn't want the Hell Pit basically coming in and starting to ruin my front line, so I started shooting at them straight away. But he still has the Warp Lightning Cannons up line. I had the Dogs going into the back. This was pretty poor. I mean, I thought I'd go for the rear charge here, but it does do some damage, but it doesn't make them go instantly. Of course, I've got Shadowgay here. So my opponent here, he was really determined to get rid of my back line, and I can understand that, because these guys will do some serious damage against most of the Skaven units. Of course, they're good against Rattling Gunners, Hell Pits, and such like that, so I had to make sure of that. Of course, I also had my Ungor Spearmen in reserve here, just in case he needed them. He used Vermintide here, of course, to try and get my back line. But the Butchers of Kalangard are just going to town in the Plague Priest, and that's what's really important, is that you just get rid of those early summoners very, very early. Ikit Claw sort of 1v1ing my Lord, which probably wasn't a very good use of him. I mean, he does do some good damage, but it's not really a fight he wants to be taking. On the flanks here, my units were actually winning, which was really good. They sort of basically were taking out most of the Skaven slaves and pushing into the Teeth Breakers, which was good for me because, of course, shutting down those units is important. I, of course, had Chaos Warhounds ready to chase off anything, but so far this was going really, really well for me. He has Ikit Claw in the front line here, and this was a good moment for me to catch him out. So I saw that Ikit Claw was trying to get into my back line here, and I basically sent on the Spearmen, which of course have poison, so he's going to be slowed and doing less damage in total, so really, really good stuff. I sent the Butchers of Kalangard in. I wanted these guys to basically get right into this meat here, but then I believe I pulled them back. Yeah, I did. So what I did here, I pulled them back because I saw there was a big Skaven blob here, so I decided to summon the Chaos Spawn right here in the middle of this entire chaff. So either he had to leave the spears here to fight the Chaos Spawn, which I believe he did do, but as you can see, he's got all these units tied down by Chaos Spawn, which is really, really nice for me. The front line for him is sort of crumbled, and really the only thing that he had really going for him in this entire fight was Ikit Claw. I summoned a Manticore as well because I wanted that here. But as you can see, he's still got the Plague Priest and Ikit Claw doing work. But this is where it basically goes to absolutely crap for him. So Ikit Claw sort of get out of position here. I sent the Great Weapons, the Centaurs with Great Weapons in. These guys can outspeed Ikit Claw any day. And of course the Plague Caster is basically fighting the Butchers of Kalangard, which is never a good fight for a person like that. I believe I summoned Flock of Doom here. Yeah, Flock of Doom on all these units here. Some nice damage on all those units. But overall, yeah, it's going pretty nicely for me. Unfortunately, his Zap cannon wasn't shooting at the most, valuable targets. I mean, my Lord is valuable, but he has regen, so he can tank most of this. But as you can see here, big Warp Lightning Cannon coming down. Not Warp Lightning, Warp Storm, or whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of the ability. Something like that. But Warp Lightning, basically, I think it's coming down. Attacking all my units does make my units rout, which is pretty bad. But I mean, overall, he just split off his main force here, which was really bad. I had so many units as well ready to chase after any of his units as well that were routing off, so really, really good stuff. But my back line, you see, this was his biggest mistake. And, these videos aren't just to show how well I'm doing. It's also to try and help people basically understand what they did wrong. And if I had to say one advice to this guy, it was basically Ikit Claw going out of position here. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Hell Pit had to fall back, and I understand that. But Ikit Claw being out of position here was a real bad move. I had the Butchers of Kalangard here. I had the Ungor Spearmen with poison here. And I had the Centaurs in the back here to chase up anything. So it was really, really unlucky for him. And I feel bad because, of course, these scenarios do happen. His build overall wasn't actually that bad. But when things like this happen, it's just inevitable that they are going to die. Ikit Claw can't take out all of these. Of course, blobbing up on Ikit Claw is not very good because, of course, this is what happens. They start sending down big lightning cannons or warp lightning cannon. Not warp, what is it? Warp lightning on all my units, doing really, really nice damage. But as you can see, Ikit Claw does start to retreat here. He understands that he's not winning this fight. But, of course, the Plague Priest, he won't get out of here alive. He's going to be wrecked by the Butchers of Kalangard. Over here, we do have the Hell Pit finally he finished off all the Chaos Spawn and is fighting the Manticore, so that's understandable. But you see, this is why Beastmen are so good, because they have if you go for just wide against Skaven, you can almost have a unit to chase off every single unit that they have. I mean, as I say, what, Natty Bubo Sharpshooters here, or, yep, being chased off with 14 ammo still. I mean, it's just really unlucky for him. But, as you can see, the game is sort of going directly in my favour right now. It's very, very nice. But, yeah, I've still got the Butchers of Kalangard. Plague Priest is routing off. All these units are routing off. And pretty much all that he had left was the Warp Lightning Cannons, which, as I say, basically get charged by Harpies. He has the Hell Pit, which is just not fast enough to really chase anything of mine. And he has Ikit Claw. But at this point in the match, it's very unlucky for him. I'll speed it up here. He does cast a couple of... I think actually this is my Flock of Doom here. And basically, it's just going completely in my favour. I say I can send the Butchers of Kalangard in. These guys start chasing after Ikit Claw. And I believe, he does a little bit of kiting here, a little bit of trying to survive. I mean, he had some spearmen here, but it just wasn't going to go in his favour. But overall, I believe this is where here we go. So this is where a bit of a main fight happens. Ikit Claw charges in, Fear and Terror just kicks in and just annihilates his entire army. But well played to this guy. I mean, as I say, Ikit Claw getting caught out there happens. and you just got to be wary of those things. But I still think double help it against Beastmen is still very viable, even with all their new toys. But yeah, I like this build. I probably would have gone for something very similar myself, but very well played too, and I'll see you guys in the next video.